Brad Blanton, our featured guest in the studio, best-selling author, psychotherapist, trainer. Full details in segment number 1 of this multiple-part conversation. We're heading into number 4 here, and we just finished up the second of what Brad calls strategies under okay, we can eat them, which is what's the big idea. And we already talked about the second of the 7 strategies under this, which is corporate cannibalism. And Elizabeth said, hey, he needs to explain what this cannibalism means. So maybe you want to give your definitions.
Well, there are 2 definitions of cannibalism. One is that it's killing and eating someone that's your own species.
Uh-huh.
And that's what I mean, literally, killing and eating them. They get an opportunity to bribe their way out by giving us all their billions of dollars. And we'll give them a little stipend of, I don't know, several. It'll be decided by a group of people drawn by random.
Well, you mentioned 100 million. I mean, that's...
100 million is plenty, I think. I think a billion is enough, is one of the principles. If anybody gets to be worth $1 billion, they're 100% taxed thenceforward.
Okay, go ahead.
The billion is the upper limit of what anybody can ever get to. And then billionaires who don't want to give all their money away will be killed and eaten, and all their money and protein will be redistributed to the rest of the world.
Did you get that idea from that sci-fi movie Soylent Green by any chance?
Soylent Green was a part of it. There are lots and lots of stories, the survivors of the airplane crash and all the different cannibalism stories that have to do with people surviving when they were brought to where they had to eat each other. This is what the world is coming to. We are going to have to do this. But the normal way it would happen is that poor people get eaten. Mm-hmm. And that rich people get to protect themselves as they usually do. I just want to start from the top rather than the bottom. And there's a second definition of cannibalism, which is to cannibalize someone else's artistic work or creations, to take their machinery, to cannibalize someone's old Chevrolet to fix up your new Chevrolet, or it's to take parts from another system and use them in a new system. Mm-hmm. So that you can create something new, or restore or repair something. And that form of cannibalism is taught more toward the end of the book, that we can actually take things from the sciences and from the social sciences, particularly the social sciences that have to do with the new methodologies that we have for bringing about deep democracy. So we're going to cannibalize from the older system. We're going to cannibalize ability to tell when people are lying and telling the truth from the Pentagon and the CIA, because they've been learning how to discover when people are lying. We're going to now take it and let them take those tests.
I like that. All right. So that has to do with the truth machines.
Yeah.
All right. We're going to get to this. All right.
Yeah.
All right. Was that good? Okay. The audience says good definition.
Okay.
All right.
Good.
So we're back on the beam here. Number 3 of 7 of these strategies: build a new system of justice based on sustainability. You want to give a summary of that?
Well, our system of justice, as it currently is based on being able to protect the wealthy. That's what it is. It basically says, as Derek Jensen says, that the fundamental principle, one of the fundamental principles of the system of justice is that the property of the wealthy is more valuable and to be protected than the lives of the poor. Mm-hmm. That fundamental principle is essential to our system of justice. I've got another fundamental principle I want to see made central to our system of justice, and that is when people violate the sustainability of the earth, that's what they get controlled not to do. That is, that's what they're punished for. Mm-hmm. Violations of like Monsanto. We could take Monsanto to court and just have a fine time and decide which one was going to be pickled and which one was going to be poisoned.
Yeah. Well, that's good. Mm-hmm. This is a good idea. Mm-hmm. And there are many other corporations that you probably could name. Do you get into specifics with what companies?
I do. I try to figure out ways. What's I think probably the way we're going to have to, when we barbecue some of these people, we're going to have to kill bankers by squeezing them to death. And we're going to probably poison Monsanto people.
In other words, it's a karmic thing.
Yeah, that's a karmic thing. We might get lawyers and talk them to death. It's like, And people have lots of creative ideas about how people could meet their maker.
But you've also given them all options to convert, right?
That's right. They can convert.
They can convert to this new beyond religion philosophy of living.
That's right. Something that has to do with the valuing poor children over rich, old, fat men.
Okay. So number 4, build and begin to use a truth machine. Now, we touched on this, so you can go into more depth because this is very intriguing.
Well, there's a great science fiction novel called The Truth Machine, and Jim Halpern wrote that in 1995, I think. And basically, it's a great book. I've read it several times, and it's a social science fiction book about what would happen to the world if people could no longer get by with lying. And we're now, with WikiLeaks and Julian Assange, we're now entering the age that he was writing about when he wrote that book. And so I've been pulling together all the different ways that we have of telling when people are lying, and just conceptualizing what it would be like to build a truth machine. And part of it would be actually not a machine, it would be intuitive people. We'd take psychotherapists and bartenders and cab drivers and people who are really good at telling when people are lying, and we would pair them up with technicians who run a regular lie detection machine, the new lie detector test that's developed by the CIA. Plus, we'd use facial analysis, video facial analysis, and we'd use brain scans. We'd be able to use various kinds of research that people generally do when they do detective work. We run people through all these ways of knowing whether they're lying or not, and then we would certify them. And certify them as honest people or as liars. And so it would, if we got to about 95 to 98% accuracy, we would make it not worthwhile to lie anymore, because if you lied, you could get caught easily.
Now, I would imagine, or I would suggest, that there would be an amnesty program put in so that you know, people would be willing at least to use the technology, and whatever it was they were lying about would be forgiven in some way.
I've sort of set that up to be determined by a collective of people. I believe that co-intelligence is much more valid and valuable than any individual intelligence. So what I'm putting out here is things that I'm postulating that a co-intelligent group could come up with furthering. I believe that co-hearted co-intelligence is the way that we need to have governance happen, and that's later on in the thing. But building the truth machine is the preliminary part, because honest co-hearted co-intelligence is the key to the maximum amount of brilliance of human beings. People can't be brilliant without being co-hearted and co-intelligent. They have to be heard, and they have to be listened to, and they have to hear and listen to others, and then the new frameworks that are developed come out of those different perspectives.
Yeah.
And the truth machine is the first step in
that. This, as you were saying, the last part of this, my chi field here, my spirit was expanding, out to here, because, I know as a psychotherapist and a researcher, we're all in the same quantum field of all that is. I mean, even the physicists are proving this. So we do affect each other. We're multicellular beings in the big multicellular all that is.
Exactly.
And you're saying we should connect the intelligence of that. Exactly. And if there's a cancerous cell or group of cells, just like surgery or chemo or radiation, you got to take care of that to keep the whole being healthy.
That's right. And if they're edible, we could eat them.
I'm a little worried about eating tainted meat, All
right.
So
maybe we'll just grind it up, put it on the field, make good fertilizer.
Yeah, let's not irradiate it, because that's what they do with food now to sterilize it. So there'll be a committee to decide what's eatable and what's edible and what's not, all right?
But anyway, back to the point. The truth machine is a sequencing of ways of determining whether or not people are being grounded and honest. And then the rule of the truth machine is that anyone who submits to it has to have the results publicly known. You can't keep secrets about what the results were of the truth machine, because secrecy is just another element of lying. This is the way our country gets by with lying and abusing the world. And it's why it scares the hell out of people in the government whenever WikiLeaks starts revealing what was kept secret, because secret is merely a way of mostly protecting your own butt when you're some diplomat or government official.
And this has been your life work, so you're not speaking about this just from theory. You've been working with groups for how many years doing this?
From 30 years of psychotherapy in Washington, D.C. with people from the State Department, the military, and CIA and everything else. And basically lawyers, like what they say about lawyers is essentially true. And I'm talking about how healing the truth is. And the truth is actually what the primary thing that heals depression, primary thing that heals anxiety, and I'm saying it's the primary thing that can heal our society.
Okay, so we just left off with 4 of the 7 strategic strategies that Brad is proposing. Build and begin to use a truth machine. We're going to take a break here, and we'll go to 5.